Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. It's Huma Islam here, Islamia teacher. Today we're going to discuss Hadith number 5. It's from P2. Question number 1. You are asked an A part and a B part. A part is it's a compulsory question. Remember, A part is based on write about the teachings within the Hadith, describe the teachings within the Hadith, and then the B part of the question 1 is how can these teachings be put into action. Now, if I narrate the hadith, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Kullu salama minan nasi alayhi sadaqa. Kulla yawmin tatlu'u fihi shams ta'dilu bayna ithnaini sadaqa. Wa tu'inu rajul fi dabatihi fatahmiluhu alayha aw tarfa'u lahu alayha mata'ahu sadaqa. والكلمة الطيبة صدقة وبكل خطوة تمشيها إلى الصلاة صدقة وتميط الأذى عن الطريق صدقة. Now the English translation, every person's every joint must perform a charity every day the sun comes up. To act justly between two people is charity. To help a man with his mount, lifting him onto it, or hosting up his belongings onto it is a charity. A good word is a charity. Every step you take to prayers is a charity. And removing a harmful thing from the road is charity. Teachings within the Hadith, every act counts. In other words, every good act that you do is a good deed. It counts. The Hadith emphasizes that even the smallest actions can be considered acts of charity. It encourages us to find opportunities to help others no matter how small they seem. The sun rises. The Hadith states every person's every joint must perform a charity every day the sun comes up. This implies that every day brings new opportunities to practice charity. It's the importance of charity. In other words, you should do it every single day, and every single joint should perform charity. In other words, how many joints, I don't know the exact number, but medical students usually know, or students who are still studying biology, they know. I used to study biology once upon a time. I can't remember how many joints we actually have, but is the emphasis on how much a person should be charitable. And naturally, seek opportunities. We can find these opportunities in our interactions, our actions, and even our words. Our interactions with other people are small actions, and even our words are opportunities for us to gain reward if our actions are charitable. Charity through just interactions. The Hadith teaches that acting justly and fairly in our dealings with others is an act of charity. It emphasizes the importance of treating others with kindness and compassion. Ta'dul has been mentioned, act justly between two people. The Quran's emphasis, it's quote, the Quran highlights the significance of justice in numerous verses. For example, Surah An-Nisa, verse number 135 states, O you who have believed, be persistent, standing firm for justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives. In other words, you will always act justly, decide justly, even if it opposes your own self, or it's an opposition to your parents, or even if it's opposition to your relatives. Because what happens in the common society, we forget religion and we adopt culture. In the Pakistani culture, it's a habit that when it comes to your own self or your own benefit or the benefit of your parents or the benefit of your relatives, you will act unjust with other people in dealing in matters. So we have to take the religious aspect, and even if what we say is going to go against them, we have to stand up for justice. Practical application. This principle applies to our personal, professional, and societal interactions. It's about being fair, honest, and empathetic in our dealings with others. Personal, in other words, if it's me and my friend, if I'm dealing or I'm deciding a matter there, I should decide justly. Professional, like if I'm a boss and both my employees are working so hard, but I'm favoring somebody else, I'm giving priority to somebody else, that would be wrong. So I would treat them all equally. And societal interactions, the way you interact with society, usually uh, we bulldozer over the rights of the poor people, or the maids or the servants that come in to help you at home. You usually, if it's something concerning them, justice goes down the drain. Extending a helping hand. Remember, a helping hand is something that you can offer without any effort. This part of the hadith encourages us to actively help others in need. It highlights the significance of lending a hand to those who are struggling. It could be any type of struggling, physical assistance, helping someone with their belongings, providing a ride, or offering physical support are all acts of charity. For example, suppose you've gone shopping and okay, your mom hasn't bought anything, but maybe your hala or your papa has loads of bags and she's middle aged, and you're young and vibrant, you're teenagers. So if you pick up her, if you manage her shopping bags, it's not going to be a big deal. I mean, that will be charity on your behalf. Providing a ride. Sometimes you see somebody needs a lift, providing a lift to somebody. It's really hot outside and you see a mother with her child, walking in the, extreme heat. If you can offer half of the ride, half of help her with half of her distance, that would also be giving a helping hand. Physical support, like pushing somebody's wheelchair. If somebody's on a wheelchair and needs pushing, or the person on a wheelchair needs assistance, then help them with that. You will see old women usually struggling with stairs. So suppose an old woman or a middle-aged woman is struggling with stairs, you can, just lend them a hand and say, okay, you can take my support, I'll help you up the stairs. It could be anything, basically. Emotional support, offering a listening ear, a kind word, or a comforting presence can be equally impactful. Offering a listening ear, just sometimes people just they need somebody just to listen to them. They're so frustrated, they're so sad, they're so depressed. Only if, when people go to psychologists, it's usually because they are suffering so much and nobody listens to them. So what satisfies their soul is that when they go to a psychiatrist or psychologist, they sit there and listen to every single thing that they're saying. And sometimes they just let it, once it's let out, their problems are half solved, basically. So be a listening ear if it comes. Sometimes your friend, as a teacher, I counsel my students and I ask them, do you have any problem? Do you need to tell me something? Is something stressing you? Remember, I'll always be here. And some people do manage to open up. And, for me, what am I going to do? Where am I going to take their problems? I can't take them anywhere. I'm not a professional. But what I do provide is a listening ear. Or comforting presence is impactful also. Like when you go to somebody who has, who's relative or somebody has passed away, just providing them with emotional, being present there. Like I hate it when people go to a death, a place where a janaza, and they speak with their mouths like that we're really sad that the person has died. Words seem so irrelevant at the time. I make sure I just go there and sit there with them, and they know why I'm here. I don't have to say it with my mouth. I mean, just being present there when a person is, distraught or sad or is in sorrow, that is also very valuable. The power of kind words. This part of the hadith highlights the transformative power of kind words. Like if you say a kind word, it does transform the other person. It emphasizes that speaking positively and encouraging others is an act of charity. The Quran's perspective. The Quran states in Surah An-Nisa, verse number 8, and let there be among you a group who invite to goodness, enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong. Impactful words. Kind words can uplift spirits, inspire hope, and strengthen relationships. They have the power to make a positive impact on those around us. For example, once I met a new class, and they were so sad and upset and demoralized that they can't they can't perform the O-level exam. We can't do anything. We can't do it. Would you imagine? It took me 2 weeks to motivate them. I kept on saying to them, you can do anything. There is nothing on earth that a person cannot do once you decide it. And then they started asking me, ma'am, are you sure that we can do it? And I would say, yes, you can do it. just, you just have to, decide and determine. You bring that determination in between you, in your mind, and you will manage it. And I saw, mashallah, mashallah, a drastic transformation of those students. And even when they did go to give their exams, they went, their performance in the series before they gave the exams was excellent. I mean, they slowly, gradually uh, fixed them. They motivated their own selves, in fact. So kind words do transfer. When you say, okay, you're looking nice today. Oh, how are you? And when, somebody asks you, you can be as depressed as you are, but somebody says, oh, you're looking nice today, and all of a sudden you're feeling happy from inside. So the impactful words do make a difference. Removing harmful things. This part of the Hadith emphasizes the importance of removing obstacles and making life easier for others. It's about creating a more positive and harmonious environment. Physical safety, removing obstacles such as on the road, debris from the road, can prevent accidents and ensure the safety of others. Like if you're removing a stone, if you're removing a tire, sometimes something falls from a truck, you can remove that. Community well-being, by contributing to safer and cleaner environment, we enhance the well-being of our community as a whole. Like well-being of the community, if we remove the use of plastics from our lives, plastic bags, plastic shopping bags, and um, plastic bottles that is harming the environment, if we stop using that, keeping our world a greener place, if we stop polluting the water bodies that are present in the form of rivers and lakes and streams, and stop our carbon emissions, then that would also be removing harmful things from the society. Practical steps for students. Students can easily incorporate acts of charity into their daily lives. Here are some ideas. Help peers. Offer assistance with studies. Like, remember the hadith mentioned that offering somebody who is struggling with their load or with themselves. So struggling, they could be a student who's struggling in their studies. You could help them, or studying in, accomplishing a project or a task. Help them no matter how you can. Struggling in maths, struggling in creating a presentation, or they have, fear of, public speaking. Helping them overcome these type of fears, that would also be considered charity. Kind words. Speak positively, politely, respectfully, and encourage others to do the same. That is one thing that teenagers could inculcate in their lives, but speaking positively and politely and respectfully. That would be a great charity on your behalf. Community service. Volunteer at local organizations or participate in charity drives, or you could create your own welfare projects. Volunteer in local organizations. I remember when there was a drive for a clean green Pakistan. Like we had a CAP project, civic awareness program in Gujranwala, and I volunteered, and I was an amateur poster maker, and we did this 10 years back, near to 10 years back, 8 years back. And even today, those posters, those amateur posters that I made so many years, that I created on an amateur poster app on my phone, are still up billboarded in the Kent. So, volunteer when it comes. I used to go and give lectures in schools and in the auditorium, just, to promote clean, solid waste management and a cleaner environment. So, offer yourself up for community service, and participate in charity drives. If anybody is, there's a charity drive collecting money or collecting material, clothes or food, or visiting orphanages, you can do that. Or create your own welfare projects. I have a student, an old student of mine, mashallah, two are brothers. They created Bunyad, their charity organization, and they offer ration during the Ramadan. In the winters, they take, they distribute clothing, warm clothing for the poor people. They go to orphanages, and they've got so many people working in this welfare project. It was their initiative, and I'm so proud as their teacher that I see them doing something. So you can manage, implementing this hadith into